Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is George Kohler with eXp Realty and could not be more excited about the star-studded cast that we put together today. Really experts around the country, elite agents that have really got it dialed in with how to grow the listing side of the real estate business. Many of us really started on the buyer side, and it is now July 2021. If you don't know that you need to be on the listing side or should be on the listing side, something's missing. So I'm sure all of you know that by this point right now. And the reality is that these are some of the top agents around the country that are really going to be sharing their secrets, right? Their strategies. How did they go from a buyer's agent to a listing agent, which is just invaluable right now. We got agents from around the country, and as they each go into their section, I'll just be teeing them up really quickly, telling you a little bit about them. But that's the whole focus of this webinar, of this video, is how to grow the listing side of your business. So I'd like to welcome to the webinar Barbara Green from Raleigh, North Carolina. Barbara was with Keller Williams for 12 years, recently made the transition to eXp Realty, and she's very humble like everybody on this webinar. They don't like to brag. Barbara closed 50 transactions by herself as an individual agent last year in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the majority of them were on the listing side, and her listing business has just exploded in 2021. So I don't think we could have a better person kicking off this video, this webinar, and really explaining how she really got into and grew the listing side of her business. So without further ado, Barbara, take it away.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, George. So I'd say the biggest thing we need to think about is focusing on the long game. This is not going to be overnight, although you can make small changes that will make significant difference in your business just by a few strategic moves. First of all, focus on a neighborhood that does not currently have a dominant agent. Something about 5 years old, so there's starting to be a fair amount of resales. Something also very easily accessible to where you live and work. Consistent steps to build awareness and relationships within the neighborhood. So it can't be random touches. It should be consistent. They should be expecting to see you. The goal is about relationships, not just brand recognition. They want to know you as a person. Consistent marketing and consistently provide value. Be accessible and present in the neighborhood. In other words, not just on their doorstep in postcard form, but get involved in the neighborhood activities, things going on, so you can really get to know some of the residents. And keep in touch with your buyers in that neighborhood. They will refer you to neighbors, and eventually they'll sell too. So establish yourself as an authority in the neighborhood. Choose the neighborhood carefully and just focus on it. Become the expert. Know the streets, the homes, the floor plans, community details, understand what roads are going in around it, what schools are opening or closing or shifting. Always do your own open houses in your target neighborhoods. Even if you're a very seasoned agent and feel like you don't have time, this is a fantastic way for you to connect with past buyers in that neighborhood and also get to know their neighbors and friends. I picked up many listings from just chatting with people, sometimes very slow open houses, but nevertheless, I got to know these people and ended up listing their house. I invite past clients and neighbors to my open house. I use it almost as a networking opportunity within the neighborhood and just bring people in. It passes the time if you're not into doing the open house, but it also showcases you as a knowledgeable agent in their neighborhood working it. And ask your favorite clients to post references on community sites. What's really, really powerful, I think, is to have residents in the same neighborhood recommending you versus just seeing it somewhere at Google or some site that they don't really know who the recommendation was. If they recognize the name of the person that posted, it's far more valuable to moving your business forward. So one of the things that I've really benefited from is sponsoring events in various neighborhoods that I focus on. When my kids were younger in the neighborhood I currently still live in, I used to sponsor swim team events, get involved in the sports events around the neighborhood. I created and organized a women's group. I ran the Bunko group for a really long time, which is a ton of fun, but also a great networking opportunity. And become a leader in your neighborhood in some capacity. I used to do PTA, school events, and sporting events. I since have shifted to other neighborhoods, but these were some of the things that I did throughout the years And I've been able to mirror these steps again in another neighborhood that I'm currently a listing agent, kind of a dominant one actually. So involvement in the lifestyle of the neighborhood.
Love it, Barbara. Thank you for the great tips. And again, like you said from the beginning, it's a long-term play, but if you're going to be in real estate for any amount of time, get started now on growing that listing side of your business. Otherwise, you're going to be driving buyers around and showing them 25, 30 homes, submitting 3-4 offers before you get something accepted. So great tips. Thank you so much for that. And next up, we've got Derek Huggett from Nashville, Tennessee. You can see from the photos on this slide, Derek is a husband-wife team with his wife, Jessica. Derek's really going to be going through and just explaining what they did. Derek and Jessica were with a smaller boutique brokerage where they were on 100% and paying a flat fee per commission. And they did that for a long time. And then when they found out about eXp Realty, they decided to join eXp. It just made that transition recently. Derek, thanks for being here today. And if you don't mind, take it away and just share a little bit about what you guys have done to grow your listing side of your business.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And thanks for having me on, George. Barbara made a lot of great points. I mimic a lot of what she said and different ideas. A little bit about Jessica and I's background. So like Barbara said, this is a long-term play. You can't flip a switch and just automatically be a dominant listing agent. So I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, we were closer to 90% buyers, 10% sellers and listings. And now we've managed to get that closer to a 50-50 ratio, which I think is a very achievable target, but you have to be persistent right now. And certainly in today's market, you'd love to be 90% listing and 10% buyer, but there will come a time where it'll flip in the other direction. But I just want to give a few tips on some of the things we've done over the years to grow our listing business. And you get listings in a lot of different ways, but I'd say the bulk of ours, we rely on our farm. We wanted an area where, like Barbara said, you're not competing with any big names in there to start. But first and foremost, picking a community that has good turnover in it. We'd probably all love to be selling $1 million homes, but there might not be much turnover. A lot of those people moving out might have reload packages where they dictate what agent they use. So we just wanted we picked an active adult community, a 55 and over neighborhood. You're going to get turnover, whether it be health reasons, people chasing grandkids. So something that has pretty good absorption and turnover. The farm that we chose has approximately 1,000 homes. So we really just focus on that one neighborhood rather than multiple smaller communities, which is also another option. Second thing is we hit their mailboxes multiple times a year. We're very intentional about wanting our faces in their mailboxes, whether it be postcards of recent listings that we've sold, just listed, just sold, or we even have a lot of luck with, as cheesy as this might sound, those old-fashioned magnetic notepads that just have like a to-do list on them. You'd be amazed at how many houses we go into in that neighborhood, even listings we don't have, where our faces are on the refrigerator in those houses. So our goal is to be about every 60 days, we want to have something in their mailbox, because this demographic that we're working with, they still going to get their mail as an event of the day. It's something they look forward to. They read everything. So we rely diligently on that. Another thing, the community that we're farming has lifestyle events. So it's a big 55 and over neighborhood that has grand clubhouse, activities director, and a lot of events going on. We've been able to become one of the trade partners of that community, which requires a sponsorship. So we advertise in their community magazine, but that allows us the opportunity to get in front of the residents and sponsor events where we can be the lead sponsor of, let's say, the food at a barbecue with music at it. So we're allowed to be there, interact with the residents. The other thing that we like to do during those events, in addition to just networking, is collecting email addresses. We're allowed to market to the people that give us their email addresses voluntarily. So that's just another avenue to get in front of them. And I'd say on a quarterly basis, we will send out a video of some sort through BombBomb that has data on what homes have sold for in the previous quarter. And I'd say most people in a rising market, when values are going up, they want to know what the neighbors' houses are selling for so they have an idea of what their home is worth. So you've got print media, you've got electronic media. You're just trying to get in front of them in as many ways as you can. And the last point on here, I've got just be present, socialize, not only at those events, but we show a lot of homes in that neighborhood. So we're walking through the clubhouse, interact with past clients, always try to add value to the residents. Even if they're not a client of yours, it could be you're just a resource for somebody might need a handyman or an electrician. If you're providing value to them, every interaction isn't going to be a sales call. So as long as you're providing value, they're going to get to know you and want to use you when the time comes, or refer you to somebody that may have a need for a realtor. So for us, it's just been about becoming a brand name in that household. And it's taken a handful of years to get to that point, but we feel like we've got a good footing in there right now and know our place, and most people know who we are.
I love that. Moving on, thank you so much, Derek. Really appreciate that. Again, Derek and Jessica are out in Nashville. Next up, we've got Chris and Mallory. They are in the Columbia, South Carolina market. I should mention that Chris and Mallory are 27 years old and have really become strong listing agents. I'm trying to emulate what they're doing because in a very short time frame of being intentional about their business, they have really become the dominant listing agents in their neighborhood as well as in many other neighborhoods in their area. Again, they're in Columbia, South Carolina. They were with RE/MAX for a while. Chris's mom was actually the broker in charge, the BIC for RE/MAX in their office. They went and learned a little bit about eXp and made the transition to eXp about a year ago. So thank you guys so much for being here today. If you don't mind, Chris and Mallory, kick it off and tell us a little bit about how you've grown the listing side of your business.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us here. This information is super. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm excited about presenting, but I'm taking notes too, so like really appreciate all that and the strategies. And some of what we'll talk about will sort of mirror what has been shared already. But one of the things I would say is, first and foremost, the easiest tip I can give is don't be a secret agent. And what I mean by that is Mallory and I lived in our neighborhood for about 3 years before we decided to really let people know what we did. And I thought I was being smart because I said, well, I don't want my neighbor knocking on my door about listing their house and stuff like that. I mean, I had a bunch of foolish reasons that I thought that was smart. And then like my neighbor 2 doors down's house went up for sale. And then the sign across the street went up for sale. And Mallory and I looked at each other and we just said, no more.
Enough's enough.
Yeah. So that's my number one tip. But when we decided, we said, okay, we've been in the neighborhood now for 3 years. How do we let people know, like, oh, by the way, and it not sound totally goofy, I guess. And so one of the things we did was we created a neighborhood video. And basically what we did is we hired a professional videographer who utilized great drone footage, as well as shots like this one right here. This is a still of the very beginning of that video. And we did this video for a couple reasons. And first, as you see there, is that when you start the video and you're at the very beginning, before you see these beautiful visuals, it instantly in people's heads creates the association that you are the expert. I would guarantee that in most markets and most people aren't hyper focusing on one neighborhood like this. And I know that our video, I can see through sources like BombBomb and stuff, how much our video is getting shared to unique visitors that I've never interacted with, because so-and-so said, oh my gosh, you got to look at our neighborhood through this video, and it spreads. And so we decided to create this video, and it's implied us as the neighborhood expert to the point where people that I've been friends with for years in our neighborhood on Facebook are actually reach out now and ask us questions and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, or what do you think about this? Or I have a friend here. And it started to generate those conversations. And it all started with this video.
it helps people get to know you before they actually physically meet you. And that's one of the biggest things that we found. And please feel empowered. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have yourself in this video, for a multitude of reasons, all that Chris has already talked about. And again, it gives that opportunity for you to meet these people before you actually physically meet them. And we've been doing the same thing with listing videos, putting ourselves in the beginning of those as well. And for a listing that I just recently had in another neighborhood, I had an opportunity to meet the buyers. And when they met me, they said, we feel like we already know you, because they had watched my video so many times, sent it to friends, sent it to family. And they even said to me, hey, when we go to sell a house, we know who we're going to call. Yeah. So pretty neat how big of an impact video can really, truly have.
Yeah, and that's just from a small, like a very short introduction, if you will. Just, hey, this is Chris and Mallory Warner, and then we have an outro. But people get that sense about you. You know, there is a lot of communication that's subconscious, first initial impressions, and NAR statistics say all the time that generally the first person who gets in front of a potential seller gets the listing. People don't compete all that much anymore, and so this allows you to get in front of them right away. And then even more importantly, it creates that association with not only you with the neighborhood, but with excellent marketing. Because if we took time out of our day and money out of our pocket to create this for the neighborhood with these great visuals and all of that, what could we provide about their individual home?
And I just want to drive that home. You know, you've heard it twice now, people mentioning BombBomb, which is a video software where you can actually track and see how often people open the email, how many times it's been watched, how much they're watching it. But Chris and Mallory mentioned a point that I just really want to drive home. They are in the beginning of every listing video that they're doing, introducing themselves, who they are. And now this video that's being shared with friends and family and all over now has Chris and Mallory all over it. Yeah. So don't underestimate that. I know a lot of agents are saying, hey, listings are selling on day 2 or 3 for over asking price. I don't need the great photo package. I don't need the great videos. I'm going to disagree with you, because as Derek had mentioned, the tide is going to shift at some point. You want to be the person that everybody is seeing on these videos. So fantastic point, guys.
Absolutely. And mentioning BombBomb, that really is a great segue into this, because utilizing that same service, you can use other landing page sources as well, but we utilize BombBomb since it's a service we already pay for. We wanted to show people we are, again, established as the neighborhood experts. And so we created a site. Our neighborhood is called Persimmon Grove, as you can see there. And we created thegroveagents.com. It's a one-page landing page that we link all of our marketing to, whether that's print, whether that's online, social media, you name it. But when you go to that site, it has our neighborhood video, like we talked about. It has specific examples for our neighborhood, because our neighborhood is not a luxury neighborhood by any means, but the vast majority of the buyers that come to this area are in this price point. And so we don't have crazy mega $1 million houses on the lake to try to convince people to help us sell these styles of homes. And so we have specific examples for our neighborhood, so people can kind of envision themselves or put themselves there. And then we have recommendations specific for people we've worked with in our neighborhood. Barbara touched on that earlier. People that actually have a vested interest in the neighborhood went through and experienced with us. It creates that sense of social proof. And then most importantly, because we not only want to get one listing, but we want to get another and another, we also linked it to our KV Core, which is our CRM site. And that is essentially action items here where you can see, a home valuation tool. What is my home worth for Persimmon Grove specifically? And then also a squeeze page that will show you the latest homes for sale. So the great part about this is not only can we generate listings using this tool, when we go talk to sellers, we can sit down with them and truly say that we have a way to generate business specifically for people who are looking for communities like ours. And we know that there's not many amenity-rich neighborhoods like ours. And so it's been a great tool. One hand kind of feeds the other, and people can really envision themselves when they're going through this page.
I love it. And then moving on to the newsletter that you started that has just had tremendous success in a very short time frame.
Yeah. So we have a very active community, but we found that aside from some posts going on Facebook or things like that, it was really hard for everyone in the neighborhood to know what was going on. There's food trucks that come out almost every Friday. There's different events that go on. And so we've seen other communities that have had community newsletters and thought, you know what, let's get one started for our neighborhood. And so we went to the HOA annual meeting, introduced ourselves, said that we were willing to take this project on, and got HOA approval to do it. And so started it up kind of on our own, tried to get some input from neighbors to see what people wanted to see on there, and got it started. Really mainly started on Facebook because that was the first place to go. Created an opt-in for people if they wanted to receive it by email or physical copy. So we've created now an email list of people in our neighborhood that we did not have before, that we can now use throughout the future, and it's ever growing. Created a Google form for people to be able to submit ideas, to submit who they want to put in for yard of the month, who they want to put in for the good neighbor for the month, and just content ideas so that we can gather it from the neighborhood, so that it's not just Chris and Mallory that are creating this newsletter. It's the Persimmon Grove Press. It's what everybody wants to see in the newsletter, and it's constantly evolving, constantly growing. We have one plug in there that's our real estate corner, that has market statistics on a monthly basis of what's sold, what days on market are for our zip code in the Lexington area.
Yep, absolutely. And you know, that's what I would say is, you know, if your neighborhood doesn't have one, which a lot do, especially when you're farming larger neighborhoods, if they don't have one, make one. And if there is one, find a way to get in it, because I think as the world gets so large with the internet and things like that, and we're connected to everybody, people still form tribes. And our neighborhood is something, you know, each of our neighborhoods, we take pride in those, and people want to know what's the inner workings of it, and find a way to get in that, because it makes you relevant. People now, since we've started doing this, people tag us on Facebook all the time when they get into threads talking about events or potential upcoming things. And then they go, hey, Chris, hey, Mallory, can you put that in the newsletter? It keeps us top of mind all the time. And so it is a wonderful tool for becoming the authority and building neighborhood trust.
Love the suggestions. Absolutely fantastic. And again, in a very short time frame, they generated listings from creating this neighborhood newsletter. Really love what you guys have done there. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And then last but not least, from Apollo Beach, Florida. This is right by the Tampa area. We've got the man, the myth, the legend. We've got Mr. George Hahn, who has also built a team of 9 buyers agents and growing. George is going to be here sharing some of his tips on how he's grown the listing side of his business. So George, thank you so much for being here, man.
It's good to be here, and hello, everybody. My team was also primarily buyers agents for a while, but in the last year or two have become very successful at being listing agents. And they use artificial intelligence. On your MLS, a couple of the tools that we use is one is Remine. It's artificial intelligence that's based on sales score. It's a scale that measures the likelihood that the seller may be ready to list soon. You can, they'll give you the hottest ones that should list in the next 6 months. And then there's some that they anticipate listing in 6 months to a year. But you can download the mailing labels from there and use your plan of attack however you would like to. If your MLS does not have Remine, HomeSnap Pro would probably be available, and it does basically the same thing. It's a hot market like it is everywhere. It helps when you've got the world champion Buccaneers and the world champion Tampa Bay Lightning. So everybody wants to come and live where everybody else vacations.
Had to slip that in, which I really, really like a lot. And can you just talk really quickly through the filters for the sell score here, George? I mean, number one, I love this idea. You've got a community that's got 1,000 homes, 1,600 homes. Instead of spending all of that money, you're using a sell score that's using AI to determine who's most likely to move. So you're sending this out to 100 homes instead of 1,600 or 2,000, whatever it might be. Can you just walk us through what these filters are really quickly? Because I think this is something that could be really helpful for other agents that might have the opportunity to use Remine or HomeSnap Pro.
Well, in a normal market, ownership time would be very helpful. In the communities that we work, we know that the average person lives in their home 4.5 years, even though they all tell us this is the last house that I'll buy. But what's really hot right now is the filter of the home equity. Okay, because the prices have gone up so quick and so much that the average home here has, you know, between $250,000 and $350,000 they're sitting on equity, and they got that just in the last 2.5 years. So it's just like they have $250,000 walking around in their pocket, and they can't wait to spend it. So we are concentrating on the home equity filter to send out CMAs to that targeted, you know, if there's 1,600 people, there's probably anywhere from 40 to 60 that says that, you know, the sales score says they're going to list it within the next 6 months. So it's spending all abroad, we send out 50 or 60, you know, CMAs or just listed, just sold directly to those people that are that Remind says they're going to sell within the next 6 months, but also we know that they've got a lot of cash that they're just willing, are really anxious to use. In this market, things come and go so quickly. One of the main things is we want to maintain a list of saying, hey, in so-and-so community, I'm looking for 2,000 square feet at around 350 to 400, so that when those pop up on MLS, I know who to call, because I know they've only got 24 hours to put an offer in or it's gone, you know. And a lot of our buyers are from other states. So we encourage them to come down, take a tour of all the communities before they're ready to buy or anything, so that they know what community they want to buy. And when something comes up in there, they can go ahead and make an offer, you know, without actually seeing it.
I love it. I think that's a fantastic suggestion. George Hahn, I should mention, was with Keller Williams for the last 6 years. So was with another large national brokerage. Prior to that, has also joined eXp Realty just in the last few months. And Barbara, if you don't mind, just give people the quick summary again about really growing their listing business and how it's not a get rich quick or an overnight thing, but really some of the big tips that we've highlighted so far today.
I think everybody highlighted some fantastic things. And I think the common theme here is that people were very focused and strategic in their approach. They chose neighborhoods either that they were intimately involved in the case of Chris and Mallory live in, or something that was easy for them to be involved in. They're not competing with an already dominant agent, but it also is accessible to where they work. They're consistent in their approach to this. They're building relationships, not just marketing to this neighborhood. And they're consistently accessible and present in the neighborhood. And just, you know, whenever you're transitioning from being a buyer's agent to trying to be more of a listing agent, keeping in touch with all your buyers is just so important, because they eventually become they eventually become sellers, and they also have friends that will recommend you as well.
I think it makes great sense. Again, I hope you've really gathered some great nuggets from here. I'll give you one last one. There's a tremendous amount of people that are going through pre-foreclosure or foreclosure right now because of COVID and not having work for the last year. And many of those people bought their homes in the last 2, 3, 4 years that has gone up a tremendous amount in value. So none of these homes should be going to foreclosure. You could be contacting these people about listing their home for sale and then giving them the equity, getting the equity out of their home before they lose it to foreclosure. There's a great website called PropStream that will help you find people that are in pre-foreclosure in your area. Same thing. You can send postcards, you can send BombBomb videos. Just another really great idea to share with you. So thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully you learned a few nuggets that really helped you out and are going to help you grow the listing side of your business. We'd mentioned early on that Barbara and Chris and Mallory and Derek and his wife Jessica and George Hahn and Tammy and his entire team, we've all formed a group at eXp Realty. And there's 5 main reasons for that. There's 5 pillars of eXp Realty. The first one is stock. We get stock and equity in the company. I'll just give you a quick example. If your median sales price or your average sales price is about $300,000 and you sell about 31 homes a year or more, you have the opportunity to earn $16,000 of company stock in EXPI for 0. Not that you're paying for at a discount, which they do offer as well, but if you sell about 31 homes a year, you become what's called an icon agent. If you become an icon agent and sell about 31 homes a year, you have the opportunity to earn up to $16,000 a year in company stock. Does your brokerage give you stock? Because very few brokerages around the country do. You know what they do? They have owners, and then they have regional managers, and then they have brokers and staff and support people. And those are all the people that have to get paid. At eXp Realty, we've eliminated all of that. And you know who the owners are? Us. All of us on this call, the agents are the owners. We're getting stock and equity in the company. When I first shared this with Barbara, she said, this is what I've been telling my clients for the last 12 years, right? You're renting your house, you're paying the landlord's mortgage, you're not getting any equity. That's what she did for 12 years at KW. She paid $23,000 a year and got a beautiful trophy for selling 50 homes. At eXp, she gets $16,000 of company stock every year that she does that. Now, if you had $16,000 of company stock that you got for free last year at this time, it would be worth over $150,000 right now that you paid zero for. Really, if you've ever compared the numbers and you say KW to eXp or RE/MAX to eXp or XYZ brokerage to eXp, it's kind of same. It's not. It might look like it, how it's bucketed as far as the numbers and the splits and the compensation, but that stock is an absolute game changer. The next one is healthcare. eXp is not a franchise like KW and RE/MAX and Coldwell Banker and Century 21 and almost all of the brokerages out there. eXp is not a franchise. It is one national brokerage. You know what that means? Is we get to use our economies of scale, kind of like a Walmart, Sam's, Costco does. And we have over 55,000 agents that now have access to affordable, phenomenal, discounted healthcare. When I left my great corporate job, my main concern was healthcare. I looked at healthcare.gov for myself, my wife, my 7-year-old, my 4-year-old, and it was going to be over $2,100 a month for not the best healthcare with a pretty high deductible. At eXp Realty, I'm paying $1,050 a month, literally $1,000 less, and I'm getting healthcare, dental, and vision with the equivalent of $1,000 deductible. Game changer. How many of you need healthcare and you're paying a tremendous amount through some local person in your backyard or through healthcare.gov? Take a look at that. You could be saving 12 grand a year. The third thing is the technology. I have not seen another brokerage around the country that offers a technology package like this. At eXp, we get access to KV Core. That is one of the coolest CRMs I've ever seen. With KV Core, you get your own WordPress website that has IDX. You don't have to pay anything extra for it. That comes with it. You also have squeeze pages. You have landing pages. You have artificial intelligence that will actually communicate back and forth with your clients until it needs to bring you in. Game changer, next level stuff. So at eXp Realty, we get KV Core, which for the record is not owned by eXp. You could go out and buy it yourself for $500 a month. That's what it costs. At eXp, we get KV Core, SkySlope Transaction Management, DigiSign electronic digital signatures, which is phenomenal, and then Facebook Workplace. That's where we communicate with our brokers. That's where our referral networks are. That's where we're communicating with our groups. All of that for $85 a month. If you're at KW, don't talk to me about Command. I feel for you. I know I've worked with CRMs like that in the past. At RE/MAX, you have Booge. Not even close to working with KV Core, SkySlope, and Workplace for $85 a month. Absolute game changer. The fourth pillar is training. At eXp Realty, we have 50 hours of live training taught every single week, as well as on-demand training courses for agents that are just getting into the business. They have the Fast Track series that is a full series to get your business jump-started. They also have the Excel series. Do you know who the training is taught by? It's not the person from real estate school that hasn't sold real estate for 30 years. It is the best of the best agents at eXp. It is the icon agents that are incentivized to teach other eXp agents by receiving $4,000 of company stock. That's how they incentivize agents to really give back and to donate and share. Some of the best training you'll ever see, 50 hours of live training every single week, and then on-demand courses that you can attend. Now, everything from growing your listing business to how to get buyers to how to grow your social media presence, how to grow your YouTube channel. Incredible training that's free. There's a lot of other brokerages that have great training that's super expensive. $1,500 to go to this one, $2,000 to go to that one. All that training is absolutely free. And the fifth pillar of eXp Realty is revenue share. What is revenue share? It's the ability to build your own residual income stream. This is an absolute game changer. Keller Williams has something similar, but with Keller Williams, it's based on profit sharing. If you are in an office or a market center that's not profitable, there's no profit to share with you. With EXP, it's based on revenue. If there is a sale made, there's revenue that you earn. On average, you earn about $3,000 per agent per year. If you're at KW, compare that to what you're earning right now. Here's the other big difference at KW is you have to have people join in your market center, in your office. With eXp Realty, again, another advantage of not being a franchise and being one national brokerage, you can have agents anywhere in the country join you, and you earn income on average about $3,000 per agent per year if they're selling about 10 or 11 homes a year. This is a game changer. I joined Chris and Mallory in Columbia. Barbara joined me. I'm in Chicago. Barbara joined me in Raleigh. Derek and Jessica joined us in Nashville, Tennessee. George in Tampa. We have agents all over the country that are joining us. And most importantly, you can have agents join you in other countries as well. eXp is now in multiple countries and adding more third and fourth quarter of this year. Guys, this is a game changer. If you've wanted to create residual income, diversify your income, but didn't want to spend 20 grand to be able to get a rental property and become a landlord, this is an absolutely incredible opportunity to diversify yourself, to kind of hedge your bets, to be able to be good no matter it's an up market, down market. This is a really important thing you should be looking at. So last thing I'll tell you is if you've looked at KW versus EXP or RE/MAX versus EXP and you looked at the compensation, you said, hey, it's similar. I don't want to get new cards and new signs. I get it. That's not what this is about. You've got to factor in the stock where you could potentially be earning $16,000 per year, the healthcare where you could be saving 12 grand per year, the technology package that you would have to pay well over $500 per month that we get at EXP for $85 per month, phenomenal training where you don't need to sign up for coaching programs. And last but not least, the residual income opportunity with revenue share to grow your business. So to get more information, please visit platinumgroupexp.com. That's our website that really explains the 5 pillars. You'll see our information on there. Please feel free to reach out to any of us. You'll see our phone numbers, our email addresses. We are really excited about EXP, which we believe is the future of real estate. We hope that this video served you, and we hope that you finish this year strong in real estate. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you all for being on the video and sharing these tips. I appreciate you guys. See you guys.
Thank you.